Nothing beats homemade cornbread, right? Nothing better than that.
Agreed.
But if you use fresh corn, it's even better.
Absolutely. So
Right?
here to show us how to make it is personal chef Bill Collins from chefbill.com. Cornbread with fresh local corn.
It changes it completely.
Does it really?
It really does.
Okay.
Because it oomphs up the flavor. And where you take a great tasting cornbread and you put this more of a corn flavor in, it's perfect.
Now, you know what's nice? I don't see a package here that says, you know, cornbread mix. You're making it on your own.
What, you can buy it? Oh, forget it then.
You've been wasting your time, sir.
Who knew? Actually, it's so simple to make. It's one of those things where it's just a handful of ingredients, you throw it all together, and if it takes 2 minutes longer than doing the mix, I'd be surprised.
Okay.
And
Really?
It's really that simple.
So what's in there?
Let me jump in. I've got the main dry ingredients right here. I've got some flour. I've got some sugar. I'd like my cornbread to be a little bit sweet. I've got cornmeal, and this is a finely ground cornmeal. You can go with some of it's a little more less finely ground. That's fine too.
Yeah, a little bit grittier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good word. And I couldn't. My brain wouldn't work on that.
Mine rarely does.
Yeah, there you go.
No,
and,
don't sell yourself short.
and then we've got some baking powder. And actually, it's quite a bit. It's a tablespoon of baking powder. And usually you see like a teaspoon or two, but I'll get to that in a moment. And just a little bit of salt. That's all it is. And I like to whisk it all together. And it's really that simple. Just combine all the ingredients.
So we're doing the dry ingredients, and then we're putting the wet ingredients into it.
Yeah, it's you can either throw the wet ingredients in one big bowl, or you can and combine them, or pour them into here, whichever you want.
See, I always feel like having the separate bowls, it's a waste of a bowl.
Well, maybe,
Okay.
but you know you can wash it too, so it works out well.
Wait a minute, wait, you can do that?
Yeah, it makes it easier that way. So what I have here, because we have the second bowl,
Oh,
is
good.
I did beat the egg. So why don't we put all the ingredients in here together?
Okay.
So it's a cup of milk. You can go with skim milk if you want. This is whole milk. I've got some melted shortening. You can go with butter. This is a very healthy margarine because actually all of the foods today come from our friends at Whole Foods in Hadley. And just a quick little margarine. I melted that and ready to go in. And so pour it in there.
Easy. All right.
And I usually go with a wooden spoon just to mix all this together. But what I sometimes find is that you use the wooden spoon and you still need the whisk to get rid of some of the lumps.
Right.
So
Now, is this one of those recipes that you can leave a little bit lumpy, or do we want a uniform consistency?
I like a uniform consistency.
Okay.
Because now that we've said that a uniform consistency, I'm going to be adding some lumps to it in a moment. But
that's true. Yeah,
because the lumps that I'm adding, but no, this way it won't be lumpy at all because it bakes quickly. Is the lumps are the fresh corn, and I went with a little bit more. The recipe calls for a cup, but you can never have too much.
Right. I totally agree, especially when it's this seasonal corn too.
Exactly, and a lot of people go with no corn or nothing extra added to the cornbread, and it'll still taste fine.
Yeah.
This just makes it that much better.
Now I see a greased pan over there.
Yes, and
Pre-grease the pan.
Pre-grease just a spray. You can use butter, run the stick around there, and it's good to go.
Now,
That
at what
is
temperature
easy.
in the oven and for how long?
The temperature, it's a high temperature. It's 425 degrees, but
Wow.
it doesn't bake for that long.
Okay.
Just about 20 minutes or so, and that's it. And if it takes, if you can do a mix much faster than that, I'd be surprised. It's that simple to do. So that's why I mentioned earlier the extra baking powder in there, and there's an egg also that I already beat up, and it's those two which are going to really give it a bit more of a loft and rise it up a bit. And so it's that simple. Bake it 20 minutes or so, because usually you go about 350 on these. It goes longer. This is a fast one to make.
I love it.
Oh, I can't wait to try it.
Later in the show, we're making the perfect accompaniment to this, which is
Chili, but it's a different kind of chili because, again, with the corn, it's a chicken chili with black beans and corn. So it's both very healthy, it's really good, and again, it oomphs it up because I make that all year round. But when you've got the local corn, just jump in because I can eat corn on the cob all day long.
I
But
agree.
just start putting in other things.
And if you drive around the valley too, it's amazing. Almost everywhere you look when you're not in a city, it's corn.
It's a great thing about living out here. So many farms, and everybody's got corn, and I have not had a bad ear of corn yet this year. It's so good this year.
Oh gosh, all I want to do is eat corn now.
I know.
So chicken corn chili is coming up.
Yes.
Very
With
cool.
some cornbread. Looking forward to it, Chef Bill.
You know what else? Welcome back to Mass Appeal, everybody. It's time for Taste Appeal. This is Chef Bill, chefbill.com. His website, cookbook author. Now, we're making chicken chili.
Chicken corn chili.
Chicken corn chili.
Yep, I like to think of it as chicken chili with black beans and corn.
Oh,
Kind of
okay.
describes just about everything that's in there.
There you go.
Leaving a couple ingredients out of the name, but that's what we're going with because it's all about the local corn. So what I've got here, I've already got this. I got this underway earlier. I start with cooking onions for a long time.
Okay.
If you have half an hour, if you have 20 minutes, if you have 40 minutes, get them going. I like to go for about 40 minutes. They're not quite caramelized, but they're nice and soft. They give a nice, sweet foundation to the chili. Then what I do is I put the spices in at that point. Okay. I put in some chili powder, I put in some cumin, I put in some oregano, and my secret ingredient.
Ooh, you're going to tell us?
I'm going to tell you.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Oh.
Cinnamon?
You are so prescient.
I saw it right there.
That's also a giveaway.
Yeah.
That'll
I'm like,
do it.
ooh, there's cinnamon in this chili?
Yep, and that's it gives it a slightly different lilt. And so I mix those up, and then when I put those in with the onions, and then I brown the chicken. And so that's why this isn't a light colored thing, the light color of just cooked chicken. That's got all the spices in there. And once that's all kind of settled in, the chicken's browned, then I throw everything else in. And so that way, we're beginning with, I've got some canned tomatoes here.
Okay.
And we've got those black beans. Now you can cook your black beans from scratch. You can go with canned ones. You can go with no salt ones. Whatever you want to do, it works really well.
Now the canned tomatoes, you know how you can get some with spices already in them, like chili style, or what do you just get plain?
My preference is always to get the plain, and sometimes no salt added, which is not a big deal, but because I like to adjust all the seasonings myself.
Right.
But plain, because the flavorings that even if I'm doing something Italian, they've got like basil and other things in there. I like to add them myself.
Got it.
So that's a long answer to your very simple question.
Now,
Okay.
Chef Bill, seeing as it's also tomato season, could you use tomatoes from your garden or your neighborhood farm instead of a can?
Absolutely.
Okay. A similar amount?
Yes, I would go with probably 2 to 3 large tomatoes. That's a great thing about chili. It's not an exact science. So
you
if
can't
you put
ruin it unless you burn it.
That's exactly. So if you put in an extra tomato, 2 extra tomatoes, that's just more chili.
All right.
Yeah, but then you probably have to put tomato in the name of it.
There's
So
that.
then it's
Yeah.
just going to get
Chicken,
longer.
black bean,
Yeah.
tomato. Yeah, you don't have time.
Oh, lime zest.
Lime zest. As you know, I am crazy for lime zest.
You've made me crazy for lime zest. I never thought to put it in my chili, though. What a good idea.
It's the best thing. So I'm just going to put that there, and in a little bit, I'm also going to add the juice of the limes. I'm just going to get this up to temperature. And you might be saying, well, why not just put the lime juice in right now?
Yeah.
That's because I've got my little lime squeezy thing over there. So.
The honesty of Bill and
so
his
it's somebody has to do it. So now you can see, you can look at that and say, well, that doesn't really look like chili yet. In about 15-20 minutes, it'll all start to come together. The tomatoes will break down their body a little bit, and you'll see that that's going to have what's going to look just like chili.
Oh, I can't wait.
Cover it up, and it's that easy. You take there aren't a lot of steps. It might seem like it takes a bit of time, but not active time.
Okay.
Chef Bill, how do we clean corn and shuck it properly?
There are 2 steps to do this.
Okay.
And the first step is kind of obvious. And that is, well, you just take the kernels off.
That's the one that I know and love.
And so I go down like that, and flip it over.
Do they make, like, nifty gadgets to remove corn? You
know
know what? Just use your knife.
You
right?
should.
It's
I've
one of those
tried.
times you don't need a nifty gadget.
Yeah, it's like, what? That's easy.
I was doing a cooking class one time, and they showed the nifty gadget, and they said try it. I just couldn't get my coordination going for that. So now, actually, what you're doing, Seth, that is one way to do it because you want to run the back of a knife down there, and so I just stand it up and I just.
Because that's the I think you've said it before, like all the milkiness out of it, like super
there's
chowder.
there's so much great flavor in there that, as you can see.
So the back of the knife, so
Back of the knife.
it's a little more blunt, right?
Yes, and so you can see the holes from the cobs. That's just you've scraped everything out.
So that's when you know you're done. It's very holy, like a Swiss cheese.
Yes, and yes, a corny Swiss cheese. So
there's the first corn joke of the day.
There'll be more.
Everyone was waiting.
I was trying
Yeah,
to avoid them.
Well, but that's because you're a bigger person than.
I don't think so.
So, and that way, if you want to chop up the big pieces of corn or not, it's entirely up to you because it'll break apart in there.
Yeah. So we'll just skip that stuff. Just throw it all in.
Yeah.
Now,
That's what I
but
do.
there's also the philosophical question because there are a lot of recipes out there that say, well, don't even bother to cook the corn. just take everything off, you take the kernels off and scrape down to do that. Yes, you can do that, because if you're throwing it in there, it's going to be simmering. It's going to cook through. So that works perfectly fine. My approach to this is whenever I buy corn, I get at least a dozen ears, sometimes 2 dozen ears, because I cook it all up, and there's so many things you do with it. It's already cooked, and
and you can freeze it too, right?
Oh, it freezes beautifully, and actually the cobs freeze beautifully. So if you want to make a corn chowder or a corn soup, you just throw them in with the stock and give you that corn flavor.
So would you throw this in with this chili?
I wouldn't throw it in with the chili just because it's such a dense thing.
Okay.
I would throw it in. One thing I'd consider doing is with some of the tomatoes. I would maybe simmer some tomatoes first in with the corn, and that would give you more of a corn infused flavor.
Got it.
So, but I think there's too much stuff. You'd end up really having to clean off the cob. You know, you'd be scraping chili off the cob.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. Too much work.
Well, how about we let this simmer, and then we try it a little bit later in the show with our finishing cornbread, right?
Yeah, we're going to finish cornbread. We're going to have everything. We're going to have a great summer
feast.
Corny meal.
corny meal.
Now, Chef, we're wrapping up Mass Appeal today with the one, the only personal Chef Bill Collins, chefbill.com. Once again, if people don't know, finishing up all of the dishes we've made today. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's just a simple dish, especially with a rainy day today. This is a rainy day summer food because we've got the fresh corn in there. A nice warm bowl of chili tender will be perfect.
You're right. If it was a nice, sunshiny, warm summer day, I'd say, I don't know if I'm in the mood for chili. Today, perfect.
I planned it. I'm sorry I planned the rain, but because we were doing chili today.
Summertime
I
comfort
approve.
food. It's great. And people missed it earlier. Cinnamon, a huge mystery ingredient.
I do. I like to put cinnamon in all my chilies because it just gives it that little oomphiness that just changes a little bit, but it's a nice addition.
Yeah, it's a subtle, nice little touch.
Yes.
It's all about the oomph, as Chef Bill says.
Yes, it is.
So here we have our chicken chili with corn and black beans.
Yes.
And tomato and lime zest and all that other stuff.
And all the other stuff in there, yep. And actually, it's very heart healthy. There's no sugar, no sweetener, anything added to it. I went with chicken thighs. You can go with chicken breast to make it even leaner. So it's just, plus it's great tasting chili. So what I like to do is just grate on a little bit of cheese. I don't just like to zest lime. I like to zest cheese.
Oh,
apparently.
wow. Look at how nice. I have a question for you, Bill.
Yes.
Some of us like to set it and forget it. So if we were to do that with our slow cooker, would we want to brown the onion before we throw everything in together?
I'm going to give you 2 answers because I'm incapable of one. And
More is better.
well, more is better. The answer is because I know, especially as you're a set it and forget it, you're very busy and just want to throw everything in. My preference is to brown these first. However, if you just throw everything in and walk away, it'll be fine. I think this is a little bit more flavorful because the onions have a chance to cook more and get a bit sweeter.
Right.
The natural sugars are coming out.
But exactly. But if you're just so darn busy, absolutely throw it in the cooker and walk away.
It's worth browning the onions.
I think it is
do it.
when you can. So that's the thing, because a lot of times when you do those 2 steps with a slow cooker, that can actually, a lot of people, that is a showstopper. So.
And now, Chef Bill, if people missed your first segment, you made this. It's done already. It's a quick and easy cornbread utilizing corn.
Exactly, because that's what we did. That just shows how fast it was. It was fast to put together, and this went into the oven previous segment, and it's already cooling. It actually was done during our second segment, but I just want to walk over and take it out. That's how fast it takes. It's about 20 minutes, sometimes a little faster. So that's that, and here's what it is in its pre-made form.
Oh, and perfect with chicken corn chili.
Yeah, cornbread, chili. I hate to say pray for rain, but we got it today. So
Between this and the burgers, whew.
you're all set for a summer rainy day.
Yes, we are. Thank you, Chef
Thank you
Bill.
so much.
And
Thank
your
you.
secrets are always helpful. Lime zest and cinnamon in your chili.
Yeah.
That'll
Who
wow
would've
them.
thought? And what you need to do if you want this recipe and all the others that we have, almost every day we have a recipe on the show, mymassappeal.com. That's where you go.